What's up, YouTube? Hope everybody's doing all right. Try to get some music going while I get the... Why is this monitor offset? Try to get some music going while I got the video starting. As you can see on the screen, we're trying yet again for about the 1000th time to make Sultai work. Because I do think it's like this color combination that everybody's really interested in. And there are a couple cards from the new Bloomburrow set getting ready to release that could help out with Sultai. For example, we've got Mockingbird, the new X-Blue clone effect. Because being able to pay like 1 blue, copy your Nether Goyf, your Shadow, and make a flying token is pretty cool. Or 1 in a blue for your Tarmogoyf, 1 in a blue for like Bowmaster, copy a Psychic Frog. Anything like that seems pretty fun. We've got Feed the Cycle, another nice little removal spell that can also hit Planeswalkers, and all you gotta do is like exile a couple extra dead cards in your yard. We've got Keen-Eyed Curator, the new scavenging ooze that exiles some stuff and just becomes a 7/7 trampler, which is pretty nuts, especially since we're like already putting cards in our own yard. We've got Azure Beastbinder. Is that the name of it? Yeah, Azure Beastbinder. It took me a few times reading over this card to be like, oh, it doesn't just hit creatures. You can use it to just shut off artifacts or planeswalkers as well, which is really dope. Obviously, you don't get the effect on the planeswalker the turn it comes in, but after that, you can just start attacking, shut down a Teferi, shut down a Grist, whatever. So that's pretty cool. I think that's worth noting. But I'll have another video where I like actually go over stuff from the Bloomburrow set that I'm interested in. Back to this one. I gotta swap out a card real quick that I just noticed. If I were... There we go. Meathook Massacre. Alright, back to this one. We are trying out Sultai. I've tried out Sultai with like Nether Goyf, Tarmogoyf, Shadow, Tamiyo. But I wanted to try out Nether Goyf, Shadow, Tarmogoyf, Psychic Frog this time. Added in a couple Bowmasters. I think the last time I was on like four Preordain, or I might not have been on Preordain. I can't even remember. It's been a minute since Sultai. Either way, trying a 5th copy of 1 mana Hand Disruption. So I got the 1 Inquisition in here. We're seeing a lot of like Dimir, so I think having Go for the Throat or some answer to Murktide is really important. We also do have a couple copies of Sink into Stupor. We're not heavy on green since we only got Tarmogoyf and then like Terra Sunder Veil somewhere in the sideboard. So I just got a Breeding Pool and an Overgrown Tomb. I ended up cutting all of the Drown in the Locks for a couple Spell Snare and going up to the 4 Stubborn Denial. I do think Stub's really good with like Psychic Frog, Tarmogoyf, Nether Goyf, Shadow, that part of the deck. So gonna explore that a little bit more. In the sideboard, some Consigns, Break the Ices for Tron, Stern Scolding, Deluge, Meathook Massacre, I do think's been really good. We got a video we're either already uploaded or getting ready to upload where Meathook Massacre just like absolutely destroys some green-white Ocelot Pride like Birthing Ritual deck. But that'll be up at some point. As far as like why to play green right now, I think the big reason's actually Veil of Summer in the sideboard. There's a lot of Dimir decks running around. A whole lot of Dimir. Every league I sign up, I feel like I'm running into 2 or 3 Dimir decks at least. So Veil of Summer, extraordinarily good card against those. We've got Unlicensed Hearse. We've got a good bit of removal with like our Go for the Throats, Fatal Pushes, Spell Snare, Bowmaster to fight the energy matchups a bit. And yeah, hopefully Psychic Frog will do its part to help get over the top. The downside with the Dimir, or with the Sultai builds really, is not having access to Murktide. You can make it so you have access to Murktide. It's not some crazy consideration. But not having access to Murktide or Tameo means that like your games are won through turning creatures sideways, which can be a liability in matchups with a lot of chump blockers or games that you need to do something unfair to get the game over with. So decks like Boros that are just going to have like a better, more aggressive board presence can be problematic, since you have to stabilize and start swinging, and it's very difficult to stabilize when your opponent's like continually throwing things at you. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not particularly convinced that Sultai is like a color combination that really needs a lot more exploring. I don't think Pick Your Poison is very good right now, since we're not seeing a lot of Zoo. Not seeing a lot of Amulet Titan either. So the green splash is like Tarmogoyf Veil of Summer. And if that's your splash, it might be better to just stay Dimir, keep the cleaner mana, get access to things like Harbinger of the Seas if you want them. But you never know if you don't try. Every time I do a Sultai video, I pose the question to chat, pose the question to YouTube comments in this case. Like, what is your reason for going Sultai? If you go Grixis, you're going Grixis for things like Expressive Iteration, maybe Ragavan, something like that. But if you're going Sultai, what's your why? So I could go turn 1 Nethergoyf, turn 2 second Nethergoyf, maybe get an Undercity Sewers, try to grow the first one. I think that's going to be just too fair on the play. I'd really like to find a hand with like hand disruption into something. Throw back this third land. All right, so we've got a Dimir matchup. Just gonna take Psychic Frog. Yep. I have to decide if I want to Spell Snare one of these Tainted Indulgences, or if I want to save it for a Goryo's Vengeance. Kind of depend on what we draw over the next couple of turns. Well, now I'm definitely playing out a Psychic Frog. That seems like a no-brainer. Let's go ahead and get a Breeding Pool. Throw down our Frog. Like, hope that they don't Surveil over an Atraxa, which thankfully they do not. Got a main phase Indulgence. Maybe looking for like a Grief or something, which they do not find. Thoughtseize, really excellent draw for us. So I think we're just going to attack for 1. Tarmogoyf. Okay, so now do I want to play out the Tarmogoyf and hold up the Spell Snare? Or do I want to Thoughtseize, hold up the Spell Snare? I think I'm going to play out the Tarmogoyf. I think having the faster clock is a lot more important for me. And pass from there. Like, cutting this clock down to more than likely like 3 turns is a pretty big deal. Main phase Indulgence is fine. Could be in a little bit of trouble if they end up finding like Grief plus Ephemerate. If that's the case, I'm probably just going to have to chunk everything to the Psychic Frog. But at least right now, it doesn't look like they have it. They could also have Solitude. Solitude would be a perfectly reasonable assumption. Not going to throw anything to the frog because if they decide to Solitude, they're probably going to do it before damage regardless of whether I throw anything at the frog. So I kind of want to just give them the opportunity to do that. If I Thoughtseize, they can always respond to it. Now, if they have like Solitude plus Ephemerate, it's pretty rough for us. I love how every line against these decks usually comes down to like, well, if they have X plus Ephemerate, we're in trouble. If they have this whole mess of things. Alright, so let's take the Archaeologist. Pass the turn. Hold up our Spell Snare. Opponent does indeed find something that they want. Alright, now what would they keep on top that they want? Maybe like another copy of... another copy of like Tainted Indulgence. What's the power and toughness on Atraxa? Is it a 7/7? It is. So if I want... I could just play out a 3/3 Shadow. What I don't want is for them to have kept a Solitude and hit the Tarmogoyf. Or like hit Shadow, exile the other Shadow. But I think I might have to play out the Shadow. Just kind of say, like, if you got Solitude, you got Solitude, but this way I've got lethal, even if they deal with one of my threats. They have another... Oh, no Surveil. Thought for sure they'd have another Surveil land. If they play anything that says, like, put cards in the yard, draw discard, Archaeologist, Psychic Frog, whatever, I'm just, like, snapping off this Spell Snare on it. We're not about to mess around with anything. Now, if they do have, like, Solitude white card, I don't even think I feel that bad about it because I do still get to like have a 2-turn clock regardless of what they solitude, so yeah, solitude white card. Hit a shadow. You have to hit a shadow because if you hit like the Tarmogoyf and I top deck a fetch land, you just die. And now their hand is back to 2 Goryo's Vengeance. They're on a 2-turn clock. We will play out the second Tarmogoyf for the exact same reason as that. If they have another way to get rid of a Tarmogoyf, I want to back up out. And same argument again of anything that's 2 mana that's not like Goryo's Vengeance doesn't do anything. So anything they cast 2 mana, we are firing off this spell snare. Looks like opponent's not about it. So let's go to game 2. We've got Hearse. We've got Stern Scolding hits Grief, Archaeologist, and Solitude. Veil of Summer. In case they're running some counter spells. Also like counters Grief. Or counters Grief. Bush is pretty bad. Go for the Throat's not great. Inquisition doesn't hit Grief or Solitude, so I think I'll drop Inquisition, drop a Go for the Throat, like keep 1 Go for the Throat in case of Solitude sticking around or Grief or something. But I usually don't like the play of trying to kill like the big dumb things that come back, because more often than not, like once they enter and get the trigger, you're kind of done anyway. Now if you are on a bunch of dress downs, then that can be a much more reasonable plan, but alas, we are not on a bunch of dress downs. Alright, so no Ephemerate Grief. Spell Snare is a really good pickup. Alright, so I think I need to just shock in Watery Grave and pass. I don't want them to get a Surveil land, untap Goryo's Vengeance and Atraxa. So holding up Spell Snare lets me fight over that. See what they kept on top. We'll Spell Snare an Archaeologist. Kind of helps them set up their board. I don't want them setting up a board right now. Like Psychic Frog a little bit better than Nethergoyf plus Veil. I think I'd rather keep the Veil for like fighting a counter war. Pending the Frog, sure. Like Veil wouldn't have stopped that. Alright. I'm going to play out Nethergoyf here because this is a chance or a turn that they very well could just like hard cast Grief. And if they do that, I kind of like having Nethergoyf up. See if maybe we can bait like a force. No. Ephemerate, Atraxa, Goryo's Vengeance, Gristlebrand. So let's get rid of the Goryo's Vengeance. Right. Yeah. Get rid of the Vengeance. Chunk in for 4. Play Shadow and hope we can get like a turn off from anything crazy. Cycle of proving, yeah, proving ground. You got it. Definitely keeping a stubborn denial. So now we have the line available to us of like Veil of Summer to cycle if they play a draw spell, and I can just draw into that stubborn denial. And I think if they're not going to do anything, I'm going to go for Bowmasters here. So even if they respond with a draw spell, that's kind of okay with me because they're not doing anything else. I can go for the throat, my own thread if they have a Solitude. Alright, so I have to let the Solitude resolve. It goes after the Nether Goyf, yep. Kills the Shadow. They go for the Ephemerate, and we're going to go for the Throat. The Solitude. Trying to think, do I want Veil of Summer or do I want Stubborn Denial? I think I want Stubborn Denial because if they've got like draw spell into Goryo's Vengeance, it's going to take their 4 mana and I can still interact with the Goryo's Vengeance. They have like Indulgence or whatever, Tainted Indulgence into Goryo's. Alright, they did keep something on top. Not the best draw in the world. Hardcast Grief. Okay. This doesn't really... no, I've got Stern Scolding in my deck, so I want to respond to the Grief with Veil of Summer. Thankfully, Grief cannot target themselves. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cycle Wraith. Nether Goyf's a really good pickup. I think I'm just going to play the Nether Goyf. hold back on the shadow for a turn. Or no, I need to just go ahead and play the shadow. Don't keep playing around more solitudes. Just like try to present lethal. It's pretty funny. One, two, three, four, five. Last two cards are Grizzlebrand Atraxa. If I Thoughtseize, I could like Thoughtseize myself, take Nether Goyf, Shadow grows to a 4/4. They have to block Nether Goyf and Shadow. If they'd go to 1, let's assume, or they'd go to 3, assuming they top deck a Solitude. Exile the Nether Goyf. But I can escape the Nether Goyf that I Thoughtseized, so yeah. We'll Thoughtseize ourselves. Discard Nether Goyf. Attack in with our goon squad. Again, doing this because they have to 1-for-1 block the Nether Goyf and the Shadow. And we get a Nether Goyf in our yard in case, like I said, they do end up top decking a Solitude and exile my Nether Goyf. I can escape the other Nether Goyf. Have a threat still. Hold up stub still. Yeah, and if they put in any non-creature spell at all in the stack, we're ripping off Stubborn Denial. So pretty good match 1 for the Sultai pile. I always wanted Kaito to be like the glue that held Sultai together. Feel like it's really good to curve out like any of the Sultai threats into Kaito, but just deck space is a consideration. Alright. Opponent reveals Gigantha, so my first assumption is Boros energy. So maybe I just want to throw back Stub. Throw back Stub, keep my interaction, keep my threats. Alright, Boros and no 1-drop is really, really nice for me. Go ahead and fire off Thoughtseize. Do need to be somewhat careful of Blood Moon. Ah! Not Boros. Not Boros at all. So we'll take Dragon's Rage Channeler. Staring down triple Lava Dart. Hopefully Go for the Throat can answer the second creature that they have, which I'm guessing they topped if they kept a card on top of that commercial district. Yep. Swift Spear, typically the threat that I'm most okay with seeing off the top. Nether Goyf's not bad. So maybe I'll just go Polluted Delta, Nether Goyf. Would I rather hold up, Go for the Throat, or be mana efficient. I think I'm going to go Nether Goyf Polluted Delta. Reason being is I kind of want to get an Undercity Sewers here and try to find like a Stubborn Denial or a Fatal Push or something like that. And if they want to spend a bunch of lava darts at my face trying to get over the Nether Goyf, then that kind of plays into Shadow. Or if they do something like this where they want to go for show off, then I can untap with the Go for the Throat. But now, do I need to go Overgrown Tomb because I want to get down Shadow? Or are we just sticking with the plan of Undercity Sewers? I guess I'm just sticking with the plan. They could have a protection spell for the slick shot. No, we're just gonna bend that. I think we're just gonna play out Shadow, hold up, Go for the Throat. I'm assuming that they're just gonna like fire off a dart on my Shadow. But I'm kind of okay with that because one, it grows the second Shadow. If they attack in, it grows the Nether Goyf if they kill the Shadow. And all I really want to do now is kind of form a roadblock and get Slick Shot off the board. Yep. So let's get Slick Shot gone. This also grows the Nether Goyf. Fetch land? No, but does again grow the Nether Goyf. Assault Strobe. It does not give trample. So I think I'm just going like Nether Goyf attack at the face. Play Shadow. Kind of expecting to get Shadow double lava darted or something. And like Bowmaster to chump block. Really glad I made the call to get that Slick Shot show off the board with Assault Strobe coming off the top. Alright. I do have Delirium. Yep. So how much damage is this right now? Assuming they double lava dart me, that's putting me down to 9, down to 1. I don't really want to go to 1. Get our chump block on. It is nice to see that they're not wanting to fire off these lava darts. Spell snare. They do not have to block. So I think I'm just going attack with shadow. 1, 2, 3, 4 if they find a land. 5, 6, 7. So I would be dead to land plus bolt if I fetch and shock, or land plus another lava dart, or any pump spell. So I think I just take the 2 damage. Say go. Do have the land, so they can triple dart. We are definitely countering a slick shot. So now we know their hand is dart, and we know they've got 2 more darts in the yard. So they can absolutely dart my bowmaster. 1, 2, 3, 4 does not outgrow Nether Goyf if they put any upstairs. Flip over mutagenic, you got it. They're just trying to get me to commit to the shadow. And they're trying to get surveils, which they kept something on top. Okay. If I fetch and shock, I go down to 8. I take 3 off the channeler. I'm at 5. They do have another dart. I'm at 4, so I'm not dead to a lightning bolt. Is it worth it to... I think it's worth it to just fetch and not shock. Okay, let's think about this. if they give up another dart for a land, then they have no more darts in the yard. Or they have one more dart in the yard. That's right. This one's from hand. This one isn't from exile. How does that change things? If I go down to 7, fetch and shock down to 5, I'm dead to a lightning bolt off the top. If I fetch and don't shock, I'm at 7. Double darts 5. I'm still dead to a lightning bolt off the top. If I get a tapped shock land and they lava dart once, kill the shadow. I hit him for 5. I don't think I'm dead to a lava dart or a bolt off the top if I fetch and just shock, right? Or fetch and don't shock. If they lava dart again, give up a land. I take 3, go to 7. They have one more dart in the yard. Oh, I am dead to a dart. So yeah, I just have to fetch and shock. I'm dead to bolt regardless of what I do. So there's no reason to play around bolt. But they're dead to a removal spell. Let's see if we called the bolt. It's got to be either like a bolt or another dart. Swift Spear, really? So now I am dead to something that I didn't need to be dead to. Because I played around bolt off the top and it was a Swift Spear. Man. I feel played. There's just like no reason whatsoever for me to play around a Swift Spear off the top, right? Alright. And I think you just have to go for it, right? Man. This one was so close, and I feel like I had plenty of chances there. So why would they keep a Swift Spear on top? I guess just to have another chump blocker, but I don't know. I'm not really a fan of that. Maybe I'm the crazy one here. Probably am. Alright, we should be okay, kind of, post board. Got some extra creature counters, Hearse to fight the yard. Trim some of these wraiths and things. I don't know. I'll be interested to hear in the comments how bad y'all think I punted that one. Alright, let's get a basic swamp. Go for the Thoughtseize. Channeler, Swift Spear. Scale up Assault Strobe. So if I take a channeler, I only have one land and no green. So I take a channeler, they play a Swift Spear, hit me for 1. I play another Goyf. No, I just need to take the Swift Spear, take the hasty threat, so that they can't go like channeler, I spend a removal spell, another channeler, I spend a removal spell, and then they just have like a hasty Swift Spear with scale up and some stuff. Now, we will be mana efficient and go for the throat. Do it now so they don't get any extra like surveil triggers. If they want to just fire off mutagenic growth, yeah, mutagenic growth for no reason, they can. All right. We'll pass with this. Assuming this gets a surveil land. Kept on top, so we got to sit here with Fatal Push. We know 3 of their 4. We know everything. Salt Strobe on the Channeler seems ambitious. They're just like going all in on the damage. Okay. Now we do have to take a chunk off of this Swift Spear. But I like taking a chunk off the Swift Spear a lot more than I like dying to the Dragon's Rage Channeler, so... kind of have to get Watery Grave right. I'd like to get Undercity Sewers off of this Misty in hand. But I gotta do it in a way that lets me hold up. Sink into Stupor. So, you know, I don't just die. Alright. Bowmaster's good top deck. Give us some chump blockers. We can sink into Stupor. The Swift Spear if absolutely necessary. Make sure they don't have anything in the yard they can flash back. Doesn't look like it. So we'll ping one of these, and let's go get Undercity Sewers before I declare blocks. Because if I flip over a creature, I might want to block with my Bowmaster. So yeah, like this. I'm going to block with the Bowmaster because it puts creature in the yard and lets me grow my Nether Goyf. See a removal spell on top, so I'm not particularly in fear of dying here. Clock does not change. 3 turns whether I attack with both or just the Nether Goyf. So we'll attack with just the Nether Goyf. Pass it along. I think what I'm going to do here is let the block go through, or in this case, kill it. I was going to let him just like kill the army token and not cast anything. That way I'm a little more protected if they have something coming off the top. So if they had a follow-up threat. Now, Verdant Catacombs can let me get a tapped green source just in case I feel like I need it. Otherwise, we're likely just sinking to stupor anything that they put on the stack, especially if it's a 2-drop like Slick Shot or Underworld Breach. Don't think there's anything I really want to change. If I had another card I really wanted to get out of the deck, I could bring in Terra Sunder just because you can kick it to deal with a threat. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but for the most part, bad utility is better than no utility. I think I'm going to keep this. It's a little awkward. My hope is that I can like find a removal spell off of these baubles or just return or find land. And maybe like Bowmaster can pick off Channeler. Maybe we can get like an island and kill off a show off or counter a show off. That would be best case scenario, is opponent going for like a slick shot here. All right, so now I have to take mutagenic growth into consideration. Now I don't have to take mutagenic growth into consideration. I know they have blossoming defense in hand. So I think I just need to go swamp, go for the throat this. Nice. Could frog with spell snare. Could just play Tarmogoyf as a 6/7. I think I'm just going to play Tarmogoyf as a 6/7. Hold up spell snare. Or, maybe I'm supposed to just play out the shadow, but I kind of feel like if they didn't do anything with 1 mana last turn, that probably means they have like Slick Shot in hand or something. And I think Tarmogoyf gives me the best chance of like closing out the game before they can recoup. Just pass. Pass with Bowmaster. Salt Strobe, you got it. So they were just kind of going for the quick kill and hoping that I didn't have an answer to that channeler. Because I knew about the Blossoming Defense. They could have just held that up on their turn. Then I probably should have just played out the Bowmaster during combat there, because that would stop them from being able to fetch at all. Lightning Bolt upstairs, you got it. Survey says. Nice. 2-0 start for Sultai. Not a spot I usually expect to be in. I'm not going to lie to you. Always feels good to cast a Tarmogoyf is like something pretty big. You just kind of feel like, oh yeah, this card's totally not dead. This card's fantastic in the 2024 value meta. Tarmogoyf was bigger than Flage. What more can you ask for? But always have to come back to that question of like, do you want to add more card types or something to try to make Tarmogoyf and Nethergoyf bigger? And I'm still in the camp of like, as long as you can get Nethergoyf up to like a 5-6 without a bunch of effort, then I think that's good. Like really good. I don't think you need to play stuff like Seal of Removal to try to make it a 6/7 or... As much as I want to play Kaido or Bitter Blossom, I don't think they're worth it to get an extra point or two. Alright. I'll keep this, because worst case scenario, I have like turn 2 Psychic Frog, ditch a bunch of stuff, maybe have Stub up. Assuming I find a third land off, or a second land off this Mishra's Bauble. But what we'll do is bobble myself. See if they're mulliganing. Alright, so they mulled to at least 6. We'll bobble myself. If I see a land on top, then I'll just pass and take that land and plan on getting like an Undercity Sewers. If I don't see a land on top, then I'll go ahead and fetch Shock and play out the Nether Goyf. So we see another Nether Goyf on top, which I don't particularly want. So let's go fetch Shock, Watery Grave, play out another Goyf, say go. That way I get the benefit of shuffling away that card to look for a land, or I get to guarantee I have a land on top if I see one. Aether Vial. So we've got some fish in the house. Some fishy fish that smell fishy. Alright. So I could go Frog, Ditch an Instant. Like Frog, Ditch, Stub. Because Stub's probably going to be dead in the matchup. I could play out the Tarmogoyf to have another big threat. I kind of like the Frog Ditch Stub line, honestly. But I also have to think about if they have something like a the dude that makes my thing an island, then maybe I want to like save Verdant Catacombs for heart or for basic swamp. So let's play Spring and Frog. Kind of convince myself out of it. And we'll go ahead and ditch the Stub just to get an extra point of damage in here. Get our Psychic Frog a little bigger. This way, if they make one of my lands like my Watergrave and Island, I can still get green or black to play out Tarmogoyf or Shadow. Silvergill, reveal Harbinger. So they do have Harbinger. Does make me pretty interested in just like double spelling here. Yeah, just attack with both. If opponent wants to block, they do not. So we'll ditch a card. Stub. Okay. So let's get a land. I can't play around Harbinger and get my threats out. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and get a land that lets me play both. Play out the Tarmogoyf. See if they go for like a Flare of Denial. But I'd rather have the Tarmogoyf for the Shadow. Probably the Tarmogoyf. Right now it's a 4/5. It's a little bit worse into what's it called? The 2-mana Merfolk Trickster. It's worse into Merfolk Trickster, but it's the better threat overall right now. And at the moment, my known information is that they have a Harbinger, and it's better into Harbinger. But it looks like opponent's over that one, so we'll go on to game number 2. We got Deluge and Meat Hook. Got Stern Scolding. They're not exciting, but they're better than stuff like Stubborn Denial. Veil of Summer is really good into Trickster. I think I'll keep like a couple Wraiths over a couple Thoughtseizes. I usually don't like Thoughtseize in the Aether Vial matchups because they are going to empty their hand out really quickly. Consigned to memory might be one I'm interested in on the play. Because I can counter an Aether Vial. I can also counter ETB triggers off of like Trickster. Or attack trigger off Spy. Uncertain how many Street Wraiths I want. I could also see I probably just need to cut all the stubs, honestly. I got too many counter spells in here. I could just keep the Wraiths and Thought Seizes in over stub. Alright. It's a little bit of a slower controlling hand, but I've got basics to play around Harbinger. Got some interaction. I don't have a basic forest. So let's just get a swamp. Hit them with the old Inquisition. Sink Tide Shaper Spy. So we could take the Tide Shaper. Plan to Thoughtseize the Spy next turn. We have Veil of Summer for Sink into Stupor. Subtlety. Yeah, we're definitely taking Spy because I cannot interact with that very well. Just gonna Undercity Sewers. Try to find a threat. It's not a threat. Namo, so they got Subtlety, Sink, Unknown. And we have got Bump Kiss at the moment. That's okay. Spell Snare could be better. I wonder if they're just going to fire off this Subtlety. Got that answer. Go ahead and take that out. Might get a Mutavault activation here. Not get a Mutavault activation here. Alright, show me a threat. We'll take it. Oh, I hope they don't have another Subtlety. I might just lose on the spot to another Subtlety. Nope. That's cool. Very kosher of them. Hex Catcher. It doesn't give Island Walk. So I kind of want to just ignore it, but at the same time, like, it's a threat. I need to deal with threats. I guess I can't counter it anyway. So I don't know why I'm sitting here thinking about that. Like, hey, my opponent's got this thing I can't do anything about. I wonder if I should do something about it. Alright. Shadow would be a good top deck. Is it a shadow? Can't tell. I'm squinting, but doesn't look like a shadow. Gonna get this sink into stupor, or we're gonna get a Merfolk. Odawara. Can't do anything about that one. That's rough. No, they have like sink into stupor to bounce this if they want. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Alright. Didn't care about that anyway. Push is pretty good. So let's just get down a Goyf. Pass. I'll probably have to do something like Fatal Push inside a combat. Which I don't love, but I like the idea of being able to Fatal Push before I declare blockers. So, should get some sort of Merfolk off the board. Which means in a perfect world, we're not dead. It's always a tough matchup to sideboard for, because like you have to take out some counters, but unfortunately your deck is like so full of counters that you can't really do anything about taking like a good chunk of them out. Like you have to. So I think my best top deck's another Fatal Push. But then even if you take out counters and you have to leave some in, if your opponent sees, what was it, Cavern of Souls and Odawara, not a lot I can do. That being said, I will go to the draw and board out some more of these counters that I don't want. I wonder if I'm supposed to reconsider Consign. I mentioned it, like maybe I want Consign on the play. They do have a lot of ETB triggers. Maybe it's just like better than, say, Veil or Wraith. Maybe it's better than Stern Scolding or Spell Snare. What if I go down on Snare, bring the Wraith back in? I kind of want to see it Consign now, turn 1. See how it looks. Well, it's not a Consign, turn 1, but it's not bad. Going ahead and taking bets as to whether I'm going to bobble myself and see a Consign on top of my library and have to decide between keeping the Consign there or looking for the land. Alright, Nether Goyf on top. I don't want. So I'm just going to go ahead and get Undercity Sewers. Try to get an extra look at that land. No vial? Dang. Alright. Vial obtained. Let us get down a frog. Just go Overgrown Tomb Frog. Gives me most looks at just like finding more lands. Vial numero dos. Okay. Go power frog. So I just let them block. Yeah, let them block, discard, like, Shadow. What's this? Dismember? I could, like, discard 4 and Fatal Push. That seems aggressive. So sure. Let's see what you got going on. Got a lot going on. Whole lot going on. Ugh. That's not good for your boy. So they can play out both of their lords here. Choose not to play out both of their lords. Now, do I want to just play out Bowmaster? Guess I might as well. Doesn't feel great, but... kind of assuming they're going to do the next or same play next turn. Means I have to take 3 off the Mutavault, but... what you got? Another Lord. Okay, so am I just actually dead? Violent a Lord. One, two, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I go to 2. Like it better when they didn't have lords to attack with. So now I like have to draw a fatal push to have a chance. Might as well cycle this in case I find a removal spell right here. Right here. That what I get for boarding back in some number of wraiths. Just wraithception. Ugh, that would hurt. I don't know. Like, Blue-Base Shadows always had a really rough time against Merfolk. It's just one of those decks I don't want to devote a bunch of extra time and resources to game planning for. If I saw it more, maybe I would. And I feel like it's good enough to be popular. Just for whatever reason, it's not. I'm sure it also has some rough times currently against stuff like Jeskai Control. Just Flage, Wrath of the Skies deck. So if this is a Psychic Frog Mirror, I don't hate just playing out Nether Goyf here. Reason being is they could have a fatal push. But if they don't, then I just get to like have the first thing on the battlefield, maybe go for the throat their frog. Oh. Not another Goyf mirror. I'm glad I played out the frog, or played out the Nether Goyf though. Yeah, you got it. So now we can just play out a frog, say go. Could have like a soul trader here. Assuming this is a soul trader deck. Fulminator Mage. Heck yeah. You got it. Yeah. Just play out another frog. Do I want to just fetch shock, play out shadow, and like hop the first frog? That's probably not bad, right? So fetch shock, play out shadow. Exile, exile, exile. Attack him with frog. Sack this frog. I mean, shouldn't have F6'd. Grief. I have been griefed. Ripples of Undeath, not dead after all. Don't really care about either of these. Guess we'll take a Ripples. See what they got coming off the top. Swamp. So their hand is not dead after all. I can shock down. Yeah. Exile some stuff to the frog. Whatever, whatever, whatever. Hiya. Carry on. If you attack me, you're dead. If you don't attack me, you have to block with the grief, and I've got a stub and a frog that's going to keep connecting. Okay, so I'm assuming a Soul Trader deck based off of them having the Stitcher Supplier, the Zombie Edict dude. Fulminator Mage is a little out there, so I wonder if maybe there's a chance that they are a what's it called? A Soul Cauldron deck, but Soul Cauldron wouldn't make sense with the ETB ability with the Stitcher Supplier. So maybe it's just like value Fulminator. That's a tough one to take a guess on. Tough one indeed. I just bored out like... Or I guess I saw Flare and I saw Ripples of Undeath. That's like enough reason to trim or keep some stubs in. Words are tough today. Ripples of Undeath. Yeah, seems good. So they are also another Goyf deck. What would be worst case scenario for playing out my own Nether Goyf? Would be them having like the Edict dude. I don't think that's necessarily that bad for me. If I need to interact next turn, I can Fatal Push, play Undercity Sewers. If I don't need to interact, I can just like play Tarmogoyf or Frog. Okay. I kind of want to set up Meat Hook for next turn. Ooh. Seems pretty solid. But I also like the idea of just playing Frog. Am I just passing with Bowmaster? I'm just gonna pass with Bowmaster because this seems like a flare turn where they just get to like free sack off Bloodghast and get it back. I think I want to be mana efficient. I've got some good 2-drops, so kind of regardless of what they take, I don't feel too terrible. They are going to take the Meat Hook Massacre. Alright, so we've got a free attack in with Nether Goyf. So if they double block, I can Fatal Push their Nether Goyf. I think I want Frog down. Do I want Frog down? No. Let's just get Tarmogoyf. No. Missed out on a point of damage. See if it comes back to bite me. What does this mean? Am I about to get like damnationed? What on earth does this attack mean? I think I'm just like throwing blocks at them because I mean, even if they kill my board, I get back Nether Goyf. Maybe they have like that black land that surveils equal to How many things died? They go like land into that. No. Okay. That's something else. Spell snares, not bad. So like play frog. We can attack with Tarmogoyf. I guess technically I could attack with both. Yeah, just say like either way, I'm just gonna ditch something to get Trawler off the board. I don't feel like that's too bad of an exchange for me. Definitely gonna Nightmare counter that. Maybe they're not a what's it called deck? A Soul Trader deck. Maybe they're just like mono black value with Nightmare. I guess that has to be it. But then if you're not Soul Trader, I don't know why you would run the 1-drop Stitcher Supplier unless you're just trying to set up Nightmare. But who knows? 3-1. On to match 4. Kids are fed. Let's see if we can get a nice little 4-1. Nobody complains about a 4-1, especially with something like Sultai. What do we got for round number 5? Opponent is found. No lander on the draw. Ship that. Triple blue. One of the things I will always love about Moto is the number of times that I feel like you get to the finish line and it's just like, oh, you're ready for your deck to not function for a round? Here you go. In the 5th match, in the one that matters. GLHF. I'm thinking very heavily about their Psychic Frog. Oh. I'm gonna Thought Seize my Sink into Stupor. Does that mean this is Shadow? So I think I've seen like 1 or 2 Dimir Murktide lists running a Thought Seize or 2, but not real heavy on them. But obviously with Shadow, you're like jamming Thoughtseize as a 4 of in every opportunity that you get. So this could be Shadow. I take my Sink into Stupor. I don't hate the choice to take Sink into Stupor there. But my hesitation would be like double blue doesn't do anything for me. Like, I get no advantage whatsoever for getting a second blue source here. I'm clearly like looking for black mana. So I feel like I would have taken something that capitalized if I found black mana right away. Like, take the Thoughtseize, because the Thoughtseize really enables a lot of the rest of the hand. But that's just me. So I guess this could be Esper Goryos, and they just have Thoughtseize in the deck. Kind of what it's looking like. Which means even despite our mana troubles and mulligan, if we find like that third land, we could have a chance here. Hardcast Grief. Yep. And even if this game doesn't work out, we have sideboard games. I also would not have faulted anybody for keeping or for ditching this original hand on the draw and just like going down to 5. I don't think that's a death sentence by any means. I do think it's more of a death sentence for a fair-ish mid-range deck like this than it is for most, but it's not something where I'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe you did that. Are you trying to punt away the games? You know what I mean? Alright. We'll hang in there for a couple more turns. Opponent hadn't done anything too scary yet, so... But I am like 95% sure this is just Esper Goryos. Oh, we can counter that. And it's still funny because, like, if we find that black source, we are 100% not out of this. And that black source is... Alright, we'll go to game 2 now. So it's what? 14 cards, no black source. We have 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 cards deep. We've got 4 cards that don't produce black, and we saw 3 of them. So, a little unfortunate, but them's the beats. I will say that does give me like a tiny little bit of satisfaction, because I always mention with some lists that we play here and there that, like, for me, I can have very real mana problems if, say, I play the basic swamp, because I draw the basic swamp all the time. It's on so many videos and it's kind of hilarious. Should be an absolute meme at this point. Draw the basic swamp a ton in like Dimir Shadow builds, and it absolutely ruins like everything going on about the hand. I'll have basic swamp and Watery Grave with like triple counter spell in hand and a Murktide, and it's just really bad. And then I'll have builds like this where I'll see other people like Waga in the Discord will post Sultai lists with counter spell. And I'm like, if I run Watery Grave into Breeding Pool, I'll always see the basic swamp. I'll see Watery Grave Breeding Pool and then just draw like black card, black card, black card, black card, black card and never be able to double spell. So it's really funny to actually watch these things like play out. And just be like, see? I tried to tell you. You didn't listen to me, but I told you. I'll keep a stub. Stub's really good off of like any of my 2-drops. Just hoping for no grief ephemerate. Keep a card on top. Okay. Frog would be my best play here. Frog or hearse. I think we're going to risk it for the croaking biscuit. Now, if they also have a frog, this could be awkward. Yep. So now we get to play Froggy Chicken. Six cards to 6. So we could each ditch our hand and just see who gets the better top decks. The problem there is they get the first attack. I could just play out. You know what? I think we're going to go for it. Just the 1v1 until we run out of cards. But I'll see if they do anything first. Nope. In that case, we'll get down Nether Goyf. Hold up stub, say go. I can't get Ferocious, unfortunately. I can get Nether Goyf up to a 3-4 if they want to, like, attack and start ditching stuff. I can get Psychic Frog up to a 4-5. So I can't get Ferocious with the Psychic Frog. Fairy's a really nice one to get to counter. They could ditch and exile and hop over. Be pretty okay with that because that gets me closer to Shadow Online. Also means I get to attack with my frog. Yep. Guess auto yielding into frog doesn't auto yield to everything. Alright. We need a land. Ask and you shall receive. So we'll start by attacking in with just the Psychic Frog. Why I didn't play the land first. Lay out Hearse. Say go. Perhaps I shouldn't be taking out as much removal in this mirror or in this matchup. But I was kind of thinking like, okay, I do have 4 Thought Seizes. I have Stern Scoldings. Like, maybe I've got an amount of interaction that's okay. So I can block and grow the Nether Goyf by 2. So I just make them discard 2 cards. That's probably worth it, right? It's like the second Unlicensed Hearse is a free discard. I have to get Breeding Pool here in case I find like a Tarmogoyf. What do I want? Yeah. I have to get Breeding Pool so that I've got Stubborn Denial up if necessary. Discarding a Goryo's. So they've got 3 plus their draw is 4 to fly this Psychic Frog. So do I just have to sit on Sink into Stupor? And like not be able to attack? We'll see what we draw. Yeah. Okay. Got to sit on Sink into Stupor. I feel like I'm probably supposed to just sink right now that they've tapped off. So like reset the frog. Have up hearse. Got grief. Wrath the skies. This hits artifact, enchantment. Artifact, creature, enchantment. Okay. Rough. Good draw. And we can attack with Shadow next turn and get back Nether Goyf. Stern Scolding the Frog. Attack with Shadow, get back Nether Goyf next turn, hold up Stub. Or if they go for like a hard cast Grief, I can counter that. Is this a Solitude? So we'll just hold up double counter. Tainted Indulgence. Okay. Goryo's Vengeance. So we know they have a frog. Frog, 4 unknowns. Frog, 4 unknowns. Stern Scolding a Grief. Well, okay. Now their last card is Frog. They can play out. They're not going to play out the Frog. Why? Don't really know why they wouldn't play out the Frog there. So. Now my question is, am I playing out my Frog? So we've got double sorcery, double creature, double instant. Oh no, this is double artifact. Let's start this over. Double artifact, double creature, double instant. one land, but we can play out the other land off of the, or discard the other land off of the Psychic Frog. Am I just playing out this other frog? Yeah. I think this puts a lot of pressure on them to have to hit something good like right here. That does get land. So we attack with both. Discard Catacombs. Oh. Fair enough. Opponent wants to go to game 3. So let's go to game 3. Now, if I'm interested in bringing some amount of removal back in for their frogs, which I still am very hesitant to do because, like, with 2 snare, 2 scolding, 4 Thoughtseize, go for the throat, sink, I do just have a lot of answers to opposing frogs. Plus, like, my own frogs can stand in the way. I really don't think I want to bring in more interaction for them. I might bring an Inquisition back in for a shadow. Alright, we're just going to roll like this. I think I would just rather fight on the stack than worry about fighting on the board. Okay. Slow but resilient. Yep. Take a bobble. Got it. Probably take like a Thoughtseize because you don't want me to rip a black source off the top. Nope. Take a frog. Yep. Carry on. Okay. So now the question is, does my opponent have another copy of Ephemerate? I'm not playing around it. We're just going to Jam Tarmogoyf. Get our clock rolling. Okay. Leave something on top with the surveil. Well, Inquisition instead of Thoughtseize, because if their hand is like just a couple copies of big, dumb, stupid things, Gristlebrand, Atraxa, something like that, then I want to hit those, or I don't want to hit those. I'll try to get Grief off the board if they have an Ephemerate and blink it to get my Thoughtseize. That's completely okay. Okay. Do get a Goryo's Vengeance, but we do have a Thoughtseize for that. But they have the land right away. Oof. So if they Goryo's Vengeance right now, they don't get to attack, but they get the cards. We're going to untap and Thoughtseize into that. If they don't Goryo's Vengeance right away, they know about my Thoughtseize, so they risk me just like finding a counter spell. Good on their own instep, sure. I think I would have rather seen them do that on their main phase. It was like this, if they found Grief and something else, their hit sucked. This is like 7 creatures, so all that gets a creature and a land, right? That is a terrible Atraxa hit. Not the most exciting thing, but we're going to race to top deck. Race to top deck, and they keep on top. Okay. See what you kept on top. Just like another fetch land to get another Surveil. Okay. Get another Ephemerates. They're just going to have like 7 cards in hand. And I can't do anything until their next attempts. So get back the ephemerate. Are they not getting back the ephemerate? Just trying to like have a clock. All right. So I think best draw on my side would be like a psychic frog of my own. Mm-hmm. All right, so we really need to find something that can hit our opponent in the face pretty hard. Like a big threat that can crew up a hearse for us this turn. And clearly by big threat, I actually meant, I meant polluted delta. Solitude. All right, that's probably GG's. I don't think we have a Teamer Battle Rage in our deck, so I can't, like, top deck. What would it have to be? Something that's, like, 2 mana with 2 power that says draw a card into a Teamer Battle Rage. I don't think I have one of those in the deck. Another Solitude. Oh, they're running Bowmasters? Yuck. I didn't know this deck ran Bowmasters. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If they ditch their hand. I don't believe that I brought in Meat Hook Massacre. Nope. Anything interesting? I think we would have had to have, like, drawn a Bowmaster or something. Bowmaster to ping. Then they could still hop over with the frog and kill us. I hate to lose one to Esper Goryos there at the end, because I feel like that should be a pretty solid matchup for us. But at the same time, like, I'm not running force or subtlety in this build, and that's kind of what happened when you, or happens when you get turn 1 grief ephemerated. Just lose a lot. All right, well, let's talk about the list a little bit. What did I like? What did I not like? Tarmogoyf was good against the creature decks, like standing in front of a bunch of prowess stuff. It's also really good in the unfair decks, so it's just 2 mana for like a 5, 6, 6, 7, something like that. Deck probably does need another land, so Inquisition could just become like a second Misty Rainforest. If you want to run any more actual interaction, like Drown in the Lock, I could see finding room for Drown over, I don't know, like Bowmasters. This is all the assumption that you want to go Sultai if you think Tarmogoyf is worth it. If you don't think Tarmogoyf is good, then I don't think Veil of Summer or Pick Your Poison's enough reason to go Sultai at the moment. I think Tarmogoyf's got to be like the it factor. Just having a third, like, big hit you in the face threat with Nethergoyf and Shadow. Like, here's the problem that I'm running into with Sultai. If I want to go Nethergoyf, Tarmogoyf, Shadow, then it turns into something like these spots. These 24 cards are set in stone. So these are like my, I'll say flex spots, but flex is very, very loose. And it's because out of these 19 cards that aren't in the first column, I'm kind of assuming Fatal Push is pretty set in stone, especially with all the energy decks running around right now. I personally think Go for the Throat or some equivalent secondary removal spell is set in stone. That's because you have to be able to answer opposing Murktides. You have to be able to answer Flage. Having additional answers into stuff like the cheap threats out of Boros, Soul Trader, anything like that is really nice, but you need to have something in addition to the Fatal Push. This Go for the Throat spot could also just be Drown if you want to interact that way, but it needs to be something that can kill a creature. And then when you get to your counter suite, like 4 counters is kind of the absolute minimum. If you wanted to go combination of Stub, Spell Snare, Counter Spell, though I will stand by it that I think Counter Spell is really awkward on the mana for this very heavy black base to still let you play out Tarmogoyf. You could make it work if you add an extra land or 2 and are okay not playing out Tarmogoyf until like turn 3. But what happens to me is I'll get stuck on 2 lands, really want to get the second or get the green source for Tarmogoyf, and end up either not being able to double black or not being able to counterspell. And that can make life pretty tough. So we'll just say you put in your minimum of 4 counter spells, whatever they may be. And then this is kind of the number of flex spots you have. Personally, I'm a big fan. Personally, I'm a big fan of going up on the counters. I think they are pretty good right now, especially when we see stuff like Goryo's Vengeance there. And Psychic Frog is kind of best available threat after Nethergoyf, Tarmogoyf's Shadow. But then you kind of get back to that argument of like, why splash for Tarmogoyf when I could just play like 4 Psychic Frog, 4 Bowmasters, and something else in those spots? Like, is splashing for Tarmogoyf good? And I think whether or not you splash for Tarmogoyf is kind of dependent on whether or not you think Stubborn Denial is good. Personally, I think Stubborn Denial is really good, so I'm a little more okay making the splash just for Goyf. But if you don't think Stub is good, then I think I would just stay blue-black and go a little more of the clean mana value plan. But I think the next league I try out with Sultai, I might try no frogs, no Bowmasters. That'll give me 3 more slots, and just commit them to like Preordain or something. Maybe go like no Bowmasters, no frogs, cut 4th stub. So we'll remove those. Jam in 4 Preordain, which could be just about anywhere in here. Preordain. Do something like that. Sort by mana value. Yeah. Move these over. Those are in the lands. I said swap the Inquisition for a 2nd Misty. Go something a little more along those lines and see how it goes. Sideboard. Veil of Summer I really want to play more, but if we run into this issue of Solitude out of the Esper deck and Veil of Summer being awkward, not running into the Dimir matchups that we want to see, then that could be a little bit lower on the list. Mystical Dispute could be better. Consigned, great. Break the Ice, great. I don't know. We didn't see half the matchups that I want this sideboard for, so I'm not going to beat around that too much. But either way, hope y'all enjoyed the video. As always, links down below for the deck list, Twitter, Discord, if you want to come talk Shadow, everything else, and Twitch in case you want to come catch a live stream. Hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, enjoy some good food and company. I will catch y'all back live later. Adios for now.